I must say I'm excited. I'm really excited because every time I sit among my people, among my generation, I am excited because of the, should I say, of the arrogance of possibility. That in fact and indeed, in this atmosphere here right now, anything is possible. There are no boundaries to what we can achieve. I happen to be in a mixed secondary school, which was a day school as well. And all the gentlemen in the house already understand that while people thought we were playing basketball, it was actually positioning. And the coach is standing there. There are no clouds whatsoever on the sky. The sun is super hot. That 4 p.m. sun, I actually have a theory. That 4 p.m. sun is hotter than the midday sun. And we are standing there, young man, dusty. And he begins to read the names. He reads the names. And the list of 11 is very short. And my name is not there. I had practiced and I had trained for months on months. I remember that day my stomach knotting so hard, I had to bite my tongue so that I don't cry. I could feel, that nuclear heat that rises from the base of your back and generally spreads into your thoracic area and finally into your head. The silence at that moment was so loud it felt like somebody blowing a whistle inside my head. Well, I looked down and the ball that I was now palming felt like a bag of cement. Walked to the side of the court and faked a smile. While the ones who were chosen were there celebrating, high-fiving, finally, celebrityhood was about to be appended to them. That night, I had more questions than I had answers. I remember walking into the evening prep section, and there was a flickering light. We had blue walls. It was maybe 3.5 meters of a corridor. At the end was a hall where everybody was reading, and as I was walking, there was, the lights were flickering, and you could almost hear the lights taunting me and saying, "Rejected, rejected." Rejected. I had more thoughts than I had questions. Fast forward, the next time I'm now a Form 4 and finally I must settle into authority. You do realize the high school vibe of Form 4, the senior students, some of them even look like they're in university, yet they're in Form 4. And I decided to try my hand at rugby because I was a naturally big person. I was naturally built well, and I threw myself into rugby, and I was, attending every practice. And rugby was trying because they needed you to demonstrate your commitment by doing a lap around the field in the morning before preps. So you have to figure it out, do the lap, go quickly shower, and make it in time for preps, not to say that you won't go into the evening drills. And I was committed, endurance, and I'm throwing myself into it. And in my mind, I am saying that the system is meritocracy, and that the systems are working, and that the assumption that the playing field is level for all of us. That if I can just put in the work, I will surely be on the team. And so I was a bit bigger. I was a bit 92 kilos at that time, 5'9", black Luo African man, and I was playing this position called flanking. Now, I don't know if you know something about rugby, but rugby, there are two kinds of rugby. There's rugby for men, and then there's a rugby for the ones who are practicing to be men. So the first one is sevens, the ones for running away like Kati, right? And then there's the other one, 15s, where the real men now go and play. That's the 15s, that's 80 minutes, 40 minutes aside. The other one is 7. I know people are going to roast me for this properly, but this is my example, poetic license. And I would hit so sad because I was playing flanker. So flankers, there's no running, there's no sidestepping, there's no flowers. It's just running straight. And I would hit and I would see the coach nodding in approval. And my team members once in a while would clap, almost to suggest that finally we found our superstar. It looked as if I was the best player in the team. Selection day comes. Now the rugby selection was a bit different from the basketball selection, and the reason is because the rugby selection was such a pride for the school. So what would happen then is they would go and post the list of the names, the chosen few, on the board, the school notice board. I don't know if you guys had school notice boards. Okay, those of us who went to high school, right? So the ones, the school notice board, you go there, and for some funny reason, the architect of all high schools is one, because the school notice board is always next to the reception area, bazaar office, principal and deputy principal. And for some reason, it was positioned in a way that was the only way you can access the latter part, at least of the official school. So I'm looking for Agacho. I read the list from the top. I go down. When I reach down, I read from down to up. My palms begins to become sweaty. And I can begin to feel my knees are shaking. And I don't have strength again to carry my frame. Could this be rejection? Again. My head dropped, and it reminded me of a very sad day. This day I was in class 7. I was seated at the place where parents usually come to pick their children when they're going home. I don't know about your primary schools, but this is how ours was. And I'm seated there. It's I think it was a Friday evening around 4:35 p.m. and parents are judiciously driving in, Probox is coming in and picking our classmates. And then you go ahead, Makex is coming. Once in a while, you'll see a Prado, albeit a bit worn out. Fake rich, because we were not in a very expensive school. So the ones who are making it were actually the ones who are faking it the most. So once in a while, you see a bit down Prado coming in and so on. But that day was different because as I was looking at my, I don't know, but is it that when you're in primary school, we're always hungry? It was just that my experience, okay, you can't even relate. Okay, sorry. So I was always hungry I was so hungry I could eat this piece of table, yeah? That's how hungry I am. So I'm seated in the evening, I'm looking at my lunchbox. And I'm looking down, and for the longest time, you will not even believe this, for the longest time, I used to think that when parents come home, when in the evening when two people come to pick our classmates, I was in class 7 at that time, I used to think that this was an older brother and an older sister coming to pick their smaller brother or sister. I didn't have the concept of father and mother. Actually, I was in class 7 the first time I discovered I didn't have a dad. That's the day I discovered. So what happens is, the car comes, so I was with my best friend, he's called Edward. The car comes, he runs towards the car. It was a Peugeot 504. During those days, that was the government car. I remember the color so well. It was a cream with very flat tires. You can tell that it had seen better days. And the dad the male companion walks out, right? The male companions, the father will come and check your body in case you have injured yourself anywhere so that they can inflict more bodily pain, right? And the mother will come and check if all your things are in the bag correctly and, open the bag and see that everything is arranged well and that you're clean and everything is okay. And then judiciously you will be loaded into the car and you proceed home. But this day something happened. The male colleague grabs the female colleague and kisses her on the forehead and says, "I love you, my wife." Remember again, in class 7 is when, these guys have decided not talking here. Should I wait a bit, Kissinger? Are you picking it? I should also go and switch on my Mercedes because this is even introduction to exhaust. So that we win the Nini and we move on. All right. So I'm seated there. And then you remember it's in class 6 and 5 when you have been taught that reproduction class, right? So all of a sudden, I have the capacity to understand social structure. I remember that day, wanaiba nyota yangu sasa, eh? These guys, they have decided they will steal this stuff. We proceed. Uh, let me tell you. Okay, side note, we could be chatting a bit. This is why you must never go to meetings with the notes. Have you ever seen these guys who days for exam they can't even talk? Because if they talk just like this, if you breathe, all the information is gone. If you just look at somebody and agree that, hey, good morning. Days for exam, there's always no greeting. If you prepare like that, you'll never go anywhere, because this thing has completely distracted me. I'm so grateful that for you guys I don't have to prepare. I'm just speaking to my generation, right? Fantastic. Where have we reached? Somebody remind me. Social structure. Then it clicked that it clicked that this is actually a father, and this is a mother, and this is their son. I have never had an out of body experience. That was my first, or was it? That evening, I remember we were going home, and we reached home. It's supper time, and I'm using the word supper to denote what normally happens, not to demonstrate what actually happened. And I had to allow my small sister to eat the one slice of ugali that we had, and I told her, you have to eat the ugali and I have to drink tea, because girls eat ugali for dinner, men drink tea. But what I was really drinking was hot water. And as I'm drinking this hot water, it's burning my lips, and I am having a very difficult conversation to try and reconcile what did I do that my father rejected us. And I have to smile so that my sister buys the lie. Did you know that African males, according to a journal and a top Canadian University study 2021, they actually found that African males who grow without fathers have a 20% likelihood to be incarcerated. They are price insensitive to high interest personal debt, and they are unmotivated. So it expresses itself in subtle means. While in extreme means, sometimes you will find that people are cutting their wrists and damaging themselves in other ways. Subconsciously, men who have grown, and I don't know if you're here, men who have grown without a father figure are predisposed to poverty by 15%, just because you didn't have a father. And my body is tired. My breath is, that hunger breath. My skin is charred. And in my spirit, I am searching for a father. Fast forward, I remember that day very clearly. I'm standing at the University of Nairobi. I take in a beautiful, deep breath. I look at the baby blue. The University of Nairobi they get. Okay, you wouldn't know. You people, you are Daystar people. But just imagine I'm giving you stories about your big brother or your father for argument's sake, right? And I'm standing at the University of Nairobi and I'm like, finally, here I am. What are you talking now? And it looks like everybody is so happy. I'm at the University of Nairobi. I've romanticized the whole thing. On the left is Jomo Kenyatta International Library, 5-story building. The first time I saw a story building was when I was coming to the university. Of course, we used to visit cities here and there because I'm born and bred in Kitale. But at this time, I'm looking at the University of Nairobi. Everybody looks happy. Everybody looks clean. The professors look like they know what they're talking about. You could see the distinction. The lawn is cut. I finally escaped. Finally, I've escaped. And what was making it even better, I was going to be this guy's age. And if you look right outside the gate, it's CBD. Where you can even hear millions being printed. I'm like, shortly I am here, then I just transition, and it was all worth it. Shock on you. Shock on you. Shock on you. You quickly realize that pattern of rejection, those rejection experiences that you would have experienced in your life and or other suboptimal experiences that you have experienced in your life, there are bigger ones that are waiting for you, and they don't care whether you are ready or not. That the market is crafting a plan for you with your involvement or not. That the only way the market will really get its plan is if you present your own. That the society has a vision for you, the politicians have a vision for you, the nation has a vision for you, whether or not you are aligning with it. That there was greater headwinds that I was about to face. The least of them was my background. And this is a heartfelt message to my brothers and sisters in university right now. That while we will empathize, while I empathize with you where you're coming from, I want to take this privilege to quote one famous Kenyan leader who said that while we come from difficult backgrounds, after 25, you become the background. The realization that the life that is now before you is going to take piloting and navigation from your hands is not only sobering, but also scaring. Scaring because what if I don't have the capacity and capability to navigate this ship? There was the assumption that all I needed to do was to keep my head down. It didn't work for basketball. There was the assumption that all I needed to do was to be the best, hit the gym, run in the morning, go hard on rugby, and I'll make the team. It did not work there either. The third and most arrogant was just go to school, be smart, be top of the class, make sure you go to university. Work hard, you are set for life. Start your career, career management, career coaching. Shortly you will arrive. And after that, your life is just like this. You'll take off like a jet. What a lie, baby. What a lie. You come here and you quickly realize that the economy, the society, the structure where you are now existing, your new context, your ecosystem, is not only arrogantly ravaging your slap with hard slaps, but also adding insults with it. That there has to be a readiness that sometimes the school system just doesn't give us. And I quickly found that one of the biggest questions you will ever have to answer in your life is the question, what is my money game plan? Before you answer the money game plan question, you are not yet ready to commence your journey of significance, your journey of leadership, your journey of greatness, your journey of purpose. I found a paper, Harvard Business Review 2021. They actually studied 1,800 individuals over a period of 12 years. Their thesis was that it doesn't matter whether or not you have financial objectives. Their methodology was to observe CEOs. Their methodology was to observe middle-level management. Their methodology was to observe government workers. They did that for about 12 years, and the conclusion they came to is one of the conclusions that is most shocking, but has been one of the truths that have completely stabilized my thinking. And here it is, that individuals who have written down financial objectives have a 75% likelihood of achieving all their life goals. All their life goals. That if you can get a handle on your money, if you can get a handle on your wealth, you're positioning yourself to achieve your health goals. You're positioning yourself to achieve your marriage goals. You're positioning yourself to achieve your family goals. But then do you realize that some gentlemen in this room, it's not that they're not romantic. They just have a logistical challenge. There are people here who are brilliant, amazing girlfriends. It's not that they're not amazing. It's just that they have a logistical challenge to express their love fully without any hindrance. One secular said, wacha nilie kwa sijui Range Rover, ama kucheka kwa boda boda, something in that style. There's a truth somewhere inside there, that being able to craft your financial game plan grants you the advantage in life. You want to tell me you don't remember how many times you have been chased out of a room and you are told that the room is full, or at least you have seen somebody being chased out of the room and the room is full. But when a rich man comes, the space somehow, the space appears, especially weddings. You know, weddings, You are seated at the front, you went early, you reached, maybe let's say you're at Windsor. I did have the privilege of having my wedding at Windsor. I'm seated there, you're coming early, you want to see, you don't want to miss everything, you want to be in the front of the line, you are sitting in front, everything is at your view. People come in judiciously, it's time for reception, the wedding is packed, list only, you are seated at the front. Baby, if you see a rich man coming, just pretend you're going to the toilet, because the first casualty will be the broke people in front. And how do they know? Because they just say, you. The other. Why? It is Solomon who said that a rich man, by his wisdom, a poor man, by his wisdom, will save the city, yet he is set aside. My objective for this session is to lay down 4 main causes of poverty. 4 main causes of poverty. And then we will have conversation around how then do we sidestep those causes? How do we utilize what statistics and data is showing us to ensure that we are taking that as feedback, optimizing our journeys, adjusting sail, and improving the likelihood of us reaching our financial objectives. The first research-backed reason for poverty right now in Africa is not what you think. You will be extremely surprised and shocked. What do you think it is? Somebody will think the reason of poverty is the lack of capital. There is no capital. One day we were having a conversation among youth people, Mombasa Road, and the way in the estate, you're just from high school and everybody is getting ready, and then we go to university, and then all of a sudden people are either writing CVs or writing business proposals, right? And then, everybody's talking about the business they're going to start and so on. But there used to be these friends of mine who every time you tell them about a business idea, the first thing they start telling you is capital. Capital is what we don't have. We have ideas. Have you seen these guys who, when you start telling them ideas, immediately they tell you we also have ideas? When you tell them, I was at the Dubai Marina, I met Tommy Hilfiger, they say, even me, in fact, you don't even know Dubai, let me tell you. Right? You would think that capital is one of the challenges. Somebody would say, no, it's not capital, it's infrastructure. If we could just have sufficient infrastructure, everybody will begin to move forward as far as money is concerned. But is that really true? When you begin to check statistics, and I want to give you a couple, I want you to look at World Bank statistics on the causes and reasons of poverty in Africa. I want you to read Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, a report on poverty and poverty alleviation in rural Kenya. I want you to look at Africa Development Bank Poverty Survey of 2021, 22, 23, and a couple other papers which I'll be sharing with you as we continue. The number one reason of poverty, you will be shocked, is actually financial illiteracy. That financial illiteracy is one of the reasons why there is no money in your bank account right now. The reason why there is no money in your bank account right now, in your pocket, in your M-Pesa right now, is because of financial illiteracy. There's no other reason. By the way, is it just me, or have you realized that when you're broke, you always know your M-Pesa balance, your bank balance, your Sacco balance, your KPLC overpay, and even the change you're owed by a matatu you climbed last week? Memory is functioning at optimal. One of my mentors told me, as long as you can count your money, you have not yet become rich. As long as you know your balances, you have not yet become rich. It means then that balances is not growing without your direct input. Money should be coming from every side. You should not even know at any one time how much. For instance, I can't wait to know how much money we made today. Haven't you heard this thing where they say money is currency? It's current. It's flowing. You just need to draw. You need to dig what they call trenches into your house so that they can begin to. And I promise you, if you can work on your financial literacy, you will have more money than you have accounts to receive. Because the biggest driver of economics is what? Information inequality. I know I'm at the university. I'm at Daystar University. These are sharp. Daystar is shining. Fantastic. Do you remember the market structures? Right? You have oligopoly, monopoly, and perfect competition. See, monopoly, one seller. Oligopoly, few sellers, like telco industry, banks industry, right? And then you have perfect competition, which is free entry and exit for everybody. Now, in perfect competition market structures, what is happening? You have free entry of buyers, free entry of sellers. No one buyer or seller can move the market. Do you remember that theory? I'm sure you do. For example, if you are selling right now a phone covers, not a differentiated product, you're in a perfectly competitive market. If you are selling, let's say, watches, right? If you moved out of the market today, the price for watches will not increase because of you leaving. So there's free entry and exit. So how do you concretize value in perfect competition? Information asymmetry. So the person who's making profit knows something that you don't. Say differently, profit becomes a reflection of your financial literacy. So those, for instance, you can go and buy. I used to do this business. This is something, one of the ways you can bank 1 million shillings without money. Here it is. So I used to do a very interesting business, which is called a shoe business, right? And I was trading in pure leather, only leather from Ethiopia. What else? I'm a Luo man, right? My ancestors would never allow me to touch the other cheap stuff from China, but from from the other place. But so I was trading leather shoes, and at some point I became one of the biggest official leather shoe providers without capital. How? So it is not ingenious. I'm not trying to show you how smart I am. I'm just trying to show you how desperate I was. Because sometimes how fast you're running is purely dependent on what is chasing you. You see that? Okay. So I go to this Turkish guys who was importing these shoes. I pitched him to give me capital. He says, you keep trying, ask somebody else, I'm busy, etc., whatever, come on another day, or I'll look at it tomorrow. The usual stories. Okay, I pitch him marketing. You keep pitching. The problem is when you're in campus, first of all, that was, I think, first year, second year university, in your mind, you look like an adult, but everybody else is seeing you're even you guys, in class 8, you think you're an adult, right? Then you go to Form 4 and you are like, finally, even beard starts coming and you're like, finally now nobody should play with me any games. I'm now an adult. But you're still a child. So I think he was seeing a child coming to his shop. But one day there's one Somali man, I can never forget him. He gave me a chance. And it was a very interesting transaction. I don't know if anybody does it like this. So I said, what we're going to do, because I don't have capital and we don't know each other, you don't trust me, etc., all those things granted. What you do, just give me the right side. So I'll take 2 or 3 pairs, right side only. And now, that day, I just need to find 3 professionals who can fit that shoe. It was a very, very interesting. I'll tell you that story another day. That business printed money because it was pure information arbitrage. I knew where to source shoes cheap, and I knew where to get customers who would pay a premium for leather shoes. So you find in the same city, same product, one direction is 2,000 shillings, the other direction is 20,000 shillings. The difference is information asymmetry. So I make my argument that one of your biggest efforts should be meted towards financial literacy. Here's the second reason of poverty. The second cause of poverty, I was looking at this and I was like, you must be insane. This is not true. Until I looked at the data. They found, very interesting, studying 1,800 individuals. This was done by London School of Economics, and they were looking at 1,800 individual average family homes, right? And they were checking to see what was the silent draining of their wealth. They found actually that the second cause was peer pressure. That peer pressure is actually a cause of poverty. Who knew? Are you beginning now to see that what you thought it was, it's not? So you quickly begin to realize that we are now in a journey that has some broad strokes, that has some detailed strokes, that has some nuances. And the expression of that nuances is extremely insane. Because according to a journal of social psychology 2016, this is now Cambridge University, they argued that 89% of social signals don't reach. So you are living in this 2-bedroom house, or you are putting on these clothes, you are having on this, you have this watch, this is where you stay, this is where you work, and you are diligent enough to have bundles to once in a while update us on Instagram status and so on, right? So that we can see how well you are doing. 89% of those signals don't reach. So you are getting into high interest personal debt. By the way, fun fact, they looked at, this is Financial Deepening Study 2022. They looked at what is the number one spend for all the emergency loans for high interest personal debt. Guess what they found? They found it was consumption. It was TV. Baby, this is a country where I will guarantee you to go to a circle to get a loan, 100,000. You will go to Jamia Mosque and buy a curtain, and then we will come and celebrate you launching the curtain on credit. That's the country we live in. Can you imagine? That peer pressure was a leading drug to your financial journey. So you will find many times that a lot of the things we do are for what? Social signaling. And 89%, so you are social signaling. Let me give it a better way. It's like writing a beautiful letter. When we were in high school, millennials, let me speak to millennials, these things of phones, I think I saw a phone the first time I was in first year university, something like that. So millennials, we never had phones. Instead, we had perfumed paper, yeah? How many remember? This guy is a lecturer here. How many guys remember the letters, the perfumed letters? You would buy them in Tuskys or Kuala supermarket, or you didn't know this brand. One day I moved from, I talk about Umoja a lot, yeah, I used to live. So I moved from Islando, and I'm finally in Kileleshwa. You know, you're stretching, you're like, finally, look at us. Baby, we made it, you know, and life is like, so I invite my Islando friends to come to my Kileleshwa house. And they came, and I think we were there 3-4 days, whatever it is, and we lived the life, you know, you're eating, and you're very proud of yourself, you know, you're looking at your friends like they're your children now. You're like, you people, you must be so impressed by myself. They didn't even see that it's a big thing that you're now living in. For them, it's the same. Further proving the point. But there's a sociologist who argued that the only time individuals will actually catch the social signal is when they are seeing themselves in your place. So while you are here taking huge loans to buy your first car, Pro Box, whatever it is people buy now, right? Ushanunua gari, people are admiring you. You think they are admired. They are not admired. They're not even seeing you to begin with. They are seeing themselves in the car. So a big part of our high interest personal debt, that is the worst poison for your financial journey, is being spent on things that are supposed to be signals. Don't do it, baby. Don't do it. Don't do it. Whatever you do, if the debt is not revenue earning, don't touch it with the 9-foot pole. Do not do it. Have you ever worked for these people who, because they're paying you 20,000 shillings, they think they can even call you at 2 a.m.? And when they call you, this thing is so deep, you will jump out of bed and say, yes, sir. Why? Because they have you. You are in prison. So you could be in Karen, but you're in prison, baby. You could be in Kilelesho, but you're in prison. You can be in Umoja, but you're in prison. We are all prisoners. That's what it is. Tell me, what is usually the biggest reason why we should stop holiday? It's time to go back. Have you ever asked yourself, how would life be if you didn't have to pay for anything? I know my sisters have asked themselves this question. They ask themselves all the time. But men, have you ever asked yourself? Please, these comments are in jest, friendship, and love. There is no feminism. Me, I'm actually one of the biggest champion of women empowerment, because our sisters are disadvantaged. Did you know that just because you're a woman, you have a 36% likelihood of dying in poverty? Just because you're a woman, according to Harvard Business Review. Just because you're a woman. Okay, fine. Let me give you another one. That if you're a woman and you had some traumatic experiences in your life, right? You are now at about 45-50% likelihood of dying in poverty. Now, if that trauma was sexual, you have an 86% chance of dying in poverty. That's why we must support our sisters. We have to, because the system is already against them. Think about it. Government. Who set up government? It is men. Banking. Who set up banking? It is men. Healthcare. Who set up healthcare? You don't understand how difficult it is to be a woman. I wouldn't know either. But if you look at the data, it's very difficult for our sisters, and we must support them. So for that example of ladies, you find a sister of ours. She's working hard building her financial journey, but she's constantly taking high interest personal debt. In her mind, she's fixing an economic problem, but subconsciously she has trauma that she's dealing with. So the traumatic experience causes her to be price insensitive. The same example I gave earlier, that while other people will cut their wrists, for them they are predisposed to self-sabotage. So you think your business is never working, you're always borrowing, always in loans. 56% of non-performing loans in Nairobi are from women. 80% of the expenditure was on what? Consumables. You see all these things. It's just a big charade. Ni shamba la wanyama. And I promise you, you're not the farmer, you're the animals. You're somebody. So they have to initiate you into consumption. When you say, I want to be a millionaire, what do you really mean? Can I tell you what you mean? What you mean is you want to buy what millions can buy. That's what you really mean. You don't mean, I want to be generating millions. I want to be such a sharp businessman that I can sit in a room and create ideas that will build industries. That's not what you mean. When you say I want to be a millionaire, you are seeing that Dubai Bugatti Veyron. You are seeing yourself, taking 4K photos in Amsterdam, baby, chilling. Should I say what you're drinking? You're drinking a very cold glass of freshly squeezed Egyptian orange juice. That's what's in your head. In your head is not, I need Excels, I need budgets, I need capital, I need portfolio, I need to invest in. That's not what is in your head. In your head is, I want to be a millionaire, meaning I want to buy those things that millions buy us. Don't allow peer pressure to drive you into consumerism. I can't begin to tell you. You see, the problem is, nobody ever told me that having a lot of clothes is not being rich. Nobody told me. Nobody ever told me that buying cars is not wealth. Nobody ever told me that living in Karen is not wealth. I have clients in Karen. I run a business that helps individuals concretize their wealth journey. We're able to move you from bondage to free, and then from free to wealth in under 10 years. And we have models and a lot of things that we're building. And I do have clients. And I have clients in Karen. You live in Karen, but in bondage. Why? Because even the fuel for the car is credit card. So it's credit all around. So you have to work. You can never stop. You don't have your day. So the first thing is, if you break the curse of consumerism, are you realizing to break the curse of consumerism has nothing to do with capital? It has nothing to do with networks. This is now fixing the engine that is you that will now build wealth. Because wealth is not built by what comes in. Wealth is built by what remains. CBK study argued that 66% of Kenyans, income notwithstanding, are unable to meet their day-to-day expenses. It means the person earning 1 million, the person earning 10,000, they have the same problems, just magnified. So you worked for 30 days, you worked for 25, 24 days, 8 to 5. Now there's 50,000 shillings in your bank account. That is not money. That is capital. The reason why it's not money is because that is a quantification of your blood, right? So if you earn 50,000 shillings today and you are working for 12 months, you're earning 600,000 shillings. It is not 600,000 shillings. The day you say it's here, I will slap you. That is blood. And the reason why you're not building wealth is because you're a vampire. You're always drinking blood. How do you work for 30 days, earn 50,000 shillings and spend 10,000 shillings on shere? How? You see? So normally what would happen is you'll hear a money talk, get motivated. That's not my intention. I need you to move into discipline. But even discipline is not enough. I need you to move into clarity, because the day you see that you just need 5 years of focus to be out of the hustle, what is all this luxury rubbish? Listen, you will build wealth the day you learn to need less. The day you learn to need less, and the day you learn to want less. What is all this one? I cannot begin to show you. I have shoes in my house that I bought in Paris. I've never even opened it. Same stand was stuck on the road in 2020 without fuel. I'm in a Mercedes with Tuscany leather, but I don't have fuel. Then all of a sudden I asked myself, what happened? And the realization was one of my biggest shocks in this world. Which restaurant couldn't I enter? I'm somebody who has bought for people cars. Nobody ever told me that seeing money coming into your bank account is not wealth. That's what I'm trying to share with you, comrades. I'm trying to show you, when money comes into your account right now, whether it's boyfriend allowance, girlfriend allowance, pocket money, income, whatever it is capital. And you should be extremely paranoid when it slips even one night in your bank account, because that's how you become poor. money comes in, deploy capital. What are you deploying in? You are getting into. So when you have low capital, you have to tire this thing, because ultimately, I was showing on my YouTube. I hope you guys can get some time and go and look at it. I was showing instruments in this country where you can concretize 54% CMA licensed, 40% return CMA licensed. If you use the rule of 72, you are now my comrades. I want you to understand the rule of 72. The rule of 72 is the quick math that you do to know how long will an investment double your money. So you just take 72 divided by the return. So if the investment is giving you 20% return, if you do 72 divided by 20, you can see that's just 3 years. If it's a 50% return, that's just 2 years. If it's a 3% return, that's 20 years. So you can be able to quickly compute if that return is aligning with your investment objectives or not. As you people, you are what we call growers, according to World Bank. So you have high risk. And right now, even if you lost, listen to me carefully, even if you lost the next 10 years of your life in investment, nothing changed. It did nothing for your life. What if it actually works? And I'm now showing you how it's going to work. That you touch money like this. If you try to spend that money, call me, I cut this hand for you so that you can be living without this hand. The money should come in, deployed to capital. You are under 30, here's a model for you. Live on 30%, buy the future with 70%. Buy the future. Any of your friends who tell you, come, let's go buy the new phone, come, let's go for holiday, delete their number. I promise you, you will have higher quality friends when you have something in your pocket. Haven't you heard the scriptures that say that a rich man has many friends? Haven't you heard? You think they are wish-wash friends. Why is it that for rich men everything is yes? Do you know, if you're having a catering business, let me tell you how this thing is so strange. You're having a catering business, right? You have a catering business. I come to you. Sawa. I'm Agacho. See, now I have something. Do you know what you'll tell me? I'll do the catering for you for free. Yet I don't need it. I even want to pay 20% more to support you. Right? But the one that needs it will never get it. I'm showing you that capital is capital. Get capital first, then everything else will align. So we do have strategies, and I'll be speaking about those strategies more and more the more we interact. I have 1 minute, so I'll say the number three, and the number 4 one really quickly. Let me do a quick recap. The first reason of poverty is what? Financial illiteracy. Only 27% of African adults understand how money works. Again, I have demonstrated here that making money, and listen to me very carefully, that you're making money does not mean you're financially literate. As a matter of fact, the people who make the most money, some of them are completely financially literate. But wealth is not built by what is made. Wealth is built by what remains. So the front door does not matter. It's the back door. Last year, there was this janitor who died with a portfolio of how much? Did you see this story? It was on CNN. I'm on watch to TikTok. It was $8 million. $8 million. Okay. Warren Buffett, 0 to 60 years, $3 billion valuation. Aya. 60 to 83, $100 billion. That's called the power of compound interest. That is portfolio engineering. That is investment. It's not active business. So financial literacy, very important. The second one, get out of peer pressure, kill consumption what? Kill consumption spending. The third one is emergency, death, disease. And did I say emergency? Yeah? Emergencies, death, and disease. And then here's the fourth one, capital. I want to end it there. I will invite you to our next wealth letters. I will deal with the other two. I hope you did find value in what we have spoken about today. This has formed my mission in life. We are building Cora, which is like the Google Maps, but for wealth. And the investment thesis there is that your wealth plan, your wealth journey, your money game plan must be as unique to you as your fingerprint. It must fit you like a 3-piece suit, because the methodology and the destination must agree. Our community is moving from sweat into systems. As opposed to looking for capital, people are searching for clarity. We meet every Saturday. You should join us. You know, I have people in my community, 100 million shillings net worth. There are some 10,000 shillings net worth. There are others negative net worth. All of us, we sit together, have conversation. Let me tell you, the day you fix your money game plan, this thing of help me please will end. Once you start seeing this thing clearly, even those things of help me Here is my CV. All those things will disappear. The kind of force clarity will produce in your life, you're not even ready for it. Wealth is built with blueprints. What's a blueprint? A blueprint is take 3 steps, take a left turn. Take 7 steps, take a right turn. If you're going to build wealth, wealth cannot be built by a one-size-fits-all. For instance, did you know, as an African man, if you grew up in a family that experienced illiquidity, right? Illiquidity, you are predisposed to spending business capital. Did you know that? Like, who knew even that? Like, what kind of information, who even knows that? So, if you are a business, if I'm working with, if we're working together, and you're a business person, and in your childhood you had illiquidity, i.e., rent is late, school fees is late, no power, which is the story of all of us anyway. There's nothing unique there, right? That when you, as a business person, you will always find yourself eating borrowed capital. It will always be like that. So corporate governance then becomes your pillar one. So while for you corporate governance could be the driving force, for you it could be capital raising. So on the different aspects of the business spectrum, or on the different aspects of building wealth, you will find that different individuals have different biases. Consequently, we've developed a 1,600 financial fitness test, which I want to invest in all of you today. We charge, prices start at $500, right? But for you guys, I'm going to do it. Kissinger, you're here, me committing. So we take the list, and then we will reach out to you. My office will reach out to you. You will do the fitness test. It's a very private affair, right? You'll do the fitness test, and the idea of that fitness test is that you should come out of there with clarity. If the top neurosurgeons are top not because they understand surgery so well, 50% of their effort is the efficiency and efficacy of the tools they use to analyze you. So think of this as a medical MRI. My name is Agacho, and I'm a wealth architect and founder of an ONAMA Nation. ONAMA Nation is 1 million nation, which is our mission, myself and other businessmen like me, to help one-on-one Africans bank at least $1 million. And then once you bank $1 million, we allow you now, you also go and look for another 1 million people and help them on a one-on-one basis to bank $1 million. Thank you so much.